Welcome to the Financial Freedom Network. My name is Steve, and my question to you today is, do you want to know the best time to pay your credit card bill to maximize your credit score? Well, of course you do. So in today's video, I'm going to show you exactly when to pay, how much to pay, and the best strategies to boost your credit score fast. And here's the kicker. Most people are paying their credit card bills at the wrong time and leaving valuable credit score points on the table. But after watching this video, you'll know exactly how to time your payments to get the biggest score increase possible. But just before we take a deep dive, it's imperative that you hit that like button and subscribe so that you get notified the minute we produce another game-changing video that affects your finances. And I promise you, you will appreciate it. Now buckle up and let's plunge straight in. All right. So you get your credit card bill every single month, right? And maybe you're paying the minimum payment, maybe you're paying the whole balance. But have you ever thought about the timing of your payment? Because here's the deal. When you pay your credit card bill, well, that matters just as much as how much you actually pay. See, your credit card company sends your balance information to the credit bureaus, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, every single month. And the amount they report, well, that impacts your credit utilization, which makes up 30% of your total credit score. So if you're paying your bill after that information gets reported, well, you could be showing a higher balance than what you actually owe, which in turn could be dragging down your score without you even realizing it. So let me break down exactly how this works and, more importantly, how you can use this information to boost your credit score fast. So let's talk about the three most important dates you need to understand on your credit card statement. So first off, the statement closing date. Now, this is the day that the credit card company sends your balance information to the credit bureaus. Whatever balance is showing on this day gets reported to Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, and it directly impacts your credit utilization and your credit score. Now let's look at your payment due date. This is the deadline to make at least the minimum payment without you getting hit with late fees or penalties. And if you miss this date, major credit score damage. So you definitely want to avoid that one. Finally, let's understand the reporting date. Now, this is a day your lender or your bank reports your balance and payment history to the credit bureaus. It's often the same as the statement closing date, but sometimes can be a few days before or after. Now, here's where things get interesting. If you pay your bill after the statement closing date, but before the due date, well, you'll certainly avoid late fees, but your balance could still be reported as higher, which increases your credit utilization and it hurts your score. So, when should you actually pay your bill to get the biggest credit score increase? Well, the key is to pay your balance before the statement closing date, not just before the due date. So, let me give you an example so this makes sense to you. Let's say your credit limit is $10,000. You spend $5,000 during the billing cycle. If you wait until after the statement closing date to make a payment, your credit utilization will show as 50%, 5,000 out of 10,000. But if you pay 4,000 before the statement closing date, the balance gets reported to the credit bureaus as $1,000 and your credit utilization will drop to 10%. The goal here is to keep your credit utilization below 30% at all times, but ideally closer to 10% if you want maximum credit score improvement. But here's a trick most people don't know. Say you've got a big purchase coming up that could spike that utilization. There's a specific way to pay it off that could actually boost your score instead of tanking it. And I'll explain that in just a second. But first, Let's break down the strategy behind credit utilization. So, credit utilization makes up 30% of your FICO score, and that's huge. It's the second biggest factor behind your payment history, which, by the way, makes up 35%. So let's say you have a credit limit of 10,000 and you carry a balance of 5,000. That's a 50% utilization rate, and that is considered too high and it'll lower your score. So the ideal target is to keep your utilization below 30%, but the sweet spot is actually 10% or lower. Now, here's a pro tip. If you make a big purchase that increases your utilization, make an early payment before the statement closing date to reduce the balance that gets reported to the credit bureaus. This shows you're using credit responsibly without carrying a high balance. Now, here's a next level strategy that works completely like magic. So make 2 payments each month instead of 1. Make the first payment before the statement closing date, and that will reduce the reported balance. Make the second payment before the due date to avoid interest and late fees. Now, this strategy keeps your utilization low and it ensures you're never late on a payment. And again, here's another pro tip on how to do that. Set up automatic payments to handle the second payment, but manually handle the first one to control your utilization. A common mistake people make is paying their credit card bill immediately after they make a purchase, but that can actually hurt your credit score. Why? Because if you pay your bill before the statement closing date, the credit bureaus might report a zero balance, which could make it look like you're not using your credit at all. You want to show that you're using your credit, but keeping the balance low. And that, my friends, is how you get maximum score increases. Now, a lot of people think that because they've got a 0% APR card, it's okay to carry a balance, but that's a trap. Even though you're not paying interest, the balance still counts towards your credit utilization, and that's what impacts your score. So the strategy is exactly the same. Keep utilization under 30%, pay down the balance before the statement closing date, don't max out the card, even if you're not paying interest. So here's the game plan. Always make at least 1 payment before the statement closing date to lower your reported utilization. Set up an automatic payment to cover the full balance before the due date. Keep your total utilization under 30%, but closer to 10% for the best results. And that's all, folks. So follow this strategy and you'll see your credit score climbing within a month or two, and that's guaranteed. Now, what if I told you there's also a way to use your credit card to boost your score by 50 points or more in under 30 days without spending an extra dime? I promise I'll explain that one in one of my future videos, so make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss it. And again, here's my closing call to action. Thanks so much for watching, and remember, the more you know about credit, the better positioned you are to win financially. Do me a favor, guys, drop a comment below with your thoughts, and don't forget to hit that like button so more people can stay informed about these critical strategies. And I'll see you on the next video.